6 pairs of eyes tracked every movement across the gleaming deck of the $150 million mega yacht anchored in Charleston Harbor, while a 7th pair, belonging to a 7-year-old girl, watched them all from behind a silver serving cart. The child's fingers nervously twisted the hem of her navy blue dress, a stark contrast to the crisp white uniform her mother wore among the catering staff. Anna's gift had manifested when she was barely 3, deciphering the patterns of birdsong before she could properly speak, translating conversations between tourists on the boardwalk that no child should understand. Her mother, Tessa, had learned to hide her daughter's extraordinary ability from a world that would exploit it. Tonight's catering job paid triple the usual rate, enough to cover 3 months of rent in their modest apartment overlooking the industrial side of Charleston's waterfront. The Russian billionaire hosting the event had specifically requested Tessa after tasting her signature seafood bisque at a governor's dinner. What Tessa didn't know was that her employer, Dmitry Volkov, had deeper motives beyond gourmet catering for his exclusive guest list. Behind his affable demeanor lurked a calculated plan years in the making, centered around one particular guest who had yet to arrive. The guests aboard the vessel represented the elite of several underworlds, men and women whose wealth was matched only by the depths of their secrets. Their laughter echoed across polished teak decks as they balanced champagne flutes between manicured fingers. Anna slipped between serving stations with practiced invisibility, a skill perfected through years of accompanying her mother to jobs where children were tolerated, but not acknowledged. Her gold sandals made no sound against the custom carpeting. The 6 men who had captured Anna's attention moved with military precision disguised as casual professionalism. They wore identical black suits with crimson pocket squares, their earpieces barely visible behind carefully groomed sideburns. To anyone else, they appeared to be typical security personnel for a high-profile gathering, but Anna noticed their eyes, how they connected across the deck in patterns too deliberate to be coincidental. A subtle nod, a finger tap, an adjusted cufflink, each gesture part of a complex code. Tessa worked diligently in the yacht's state-of-the-art kitchen, unaware of her daughter's growing fascination with the security team. She focused on arranging delicate appetizers, while the executive chef barked orders in 3 different languages to his harried staff. The Charleston skyline twinkled against the darkening horizon, as harbor lights began to illuminate the water surrounding the massive vessel. Despite the beauty, Anna felt a growing sense of unease, like the heaviness in the air before a summer storm. Every 32 seconds the pattern repeated, a clockwork of visual signals passing between the men, creating an invisible web of communication across the crowded deck. Anna's extraordinary mind began categorizing each movement, assigning meaning to the subtle language. While refilling a tray with miniature crab cakes, Anna overheard 2 of the security men speaking in a Sicilian dialect she had never encountered before, yet somehow understood perfectly. When the Calabrian arrives, everything must appear normal until the toast. The lead security officer checked his watch exactly 17 times in the span of an hour, a detail Anna filed away as significant, though she didn't yet understand why. His eyes held a coldness that made her shrink deeper into the shadows when his gaze swept the deck. Champagne fountains cascaded down crystal pyramids, catching the light from chandeliers that would not have been out of place in a European palace. The display of wealth was overwhelming, designed to impress and intimidate in equal measure. A helicopter approached from the mainland, its distinctive chopping sound cutting through the ambient jazz music piped through concealed speakers. The security team tensed collectively, each man touching his earpiece in perfect synchronization. Dmitry Volkov emerged from his private quarters, adjusting platinum cufflinks worth more than most people's annual salary. His smile appeared genuine, but Anna noticed it never quite reached his pale blue eyes as he prepared to greet his final guest. "The Calabrian approaches," whispered one guard to another in Italian, unaware that the little girl arranging napkins nearby understood every word. "The special glass awaits in position 3, exactly as planned." Anna's heart raced as she pieced together fragments of overheard conversations with the visual code she'd been tracking. Whatever position 3 indicated, she felt certain it meant danger for the arriving guest they called the Calabrian. Tessa appeared briefly to check on her daughter, tucking a stray curl behind Anna's ear with flour-dusted fingers. "Stay out of sight, little one," she whispered. "But if you need me, I'm just through those swinging doors preparing the main course." The helicopter touched down on the yacht's landing pad, rotors slowing as a door opened to reveal a distinguished man with salt and pepper hair, wearing an impeccably tailored charcoal suit. He carried no visible security team, projecting quiet confidence. 6 pairs of eyes tracked his every move, while Anna's became the 7th, her extraordinary mind racing to decode the increasingly urgent signals passing between the security team. Something was building toward a crescendo, like the final movements of a symphony before its dramatic conclusion. The Calabrian-American boss, introduced only as Mr. Lupo, moved with deliberate grace through the crowd, accepting congratulations and well wishes as though he expected them. His weathered face remained carefully neutral, despite the enthusiastic greeting from his Russian host. In the kitchen, a special drink was being prepared with meticulous attention to detail. A rare amber liquor poured into a distinctive Venetian crystal glass with a gold-rimmed base. The bartender wore gloves, handling the glass with extreme care. Anna slipped away from her assigned position, drawn by instinct toward the bar area where the special preparation was taking place. She watched, unnoticed, as a small vial was produced from an inner pocket, and 3 precisely measured drops were added to the distinctive glass. Volkov's announcement cut through the ambient chatter. A ceremonial toast would commence in exactly 5 minutes to honor their distinguished guest from Calabria. The 6 security men moved into predetermined positions around the deck, their pattern now clear to Anna. Time seemed to slow as servers arranged themselves in formation, the poisoned glass positioned at the center of a silver tray destined for Mr. Lupo. Anna's extraordinary mind calculated the remaining seconds before catastrophe would unfold upon the gleaming deck. The security team's eye movements accelerated, communicating a countdown that only Anna could perceive. Right eye movements for minutes, left eye blinks for seconds. 4 minutes and 27 seconds remained before the lethal toast. Anna's small hands trembled as she processed her limited options. She could try to warn her mother, but Tessa was busy in the kitchen and would never reach the deck in time. The adults would dismiss a child's frantic claims as imagination or confusion. Dmitry Volkov raised his hand, signaling for the champagne service to begin, his platinum watch catching the light from overhead chandeliers. "My friends, prepare for a historic moment as we welcome our esteemed Calabrian colleague to Charleston's waters." The poisoned glass moved closer to its intended recipient, carried by a server unaware of its deadly contents. Anna counted 15 steps between its current position and Mr. Lupo's waiting hand, a distance shrinking with every passing second. Fragments of conversation swirled around her. Business deals, political maneuverings, thinly veiled threats disguised as pleasantries, all meaningless compared to the silent assassination about to unfold. Anna made her decision in a heartbeat. She darted between guests, her small size allowing her to navigate the forest of expensive suits and designer dresses. A woman in emerald silk exclaimed as Anna brushed past, spilling champagne on a nearby gentleman who cursed in Portuguese. The security team noticed the disturbance, their synchronized eye signals faltering momentarily as attention shifted to the commotion. The lead guard touched his earpiece, murmuring something in rapid Sicilian that translated in Anna's mind as, "Contain the situation. Mr. E." Lupo stood beside Volkov now, both men smiling for photographers capturing the historic meeting between 2 powerful figures whose public businesses masked darker enterprises. Neither noticed the determined child weaving through the crowd toward them. The server carrying the poisoned glass was 3 steps away from his destination when Anna reached the space directly behind Mr. Lupo. Her golden sandals gave her the extra height needed as she pretended to trip, arms flailing dramatically. Her small hand connected with the bottom of the tray, sending the poisoned glass flying through the air in a graceful arc that ended with a spectacular crash at Volkov's expensive leather shoes. Crystal shards scattered across the deck like diamonds on black velvet. Silence fell instantly across the yacht, 100 conversations halting mid-sentence as all eyes turned toward the source of the disturbance. Anna froze in place, suddenly the center of unwanted attention from Charleston's most dangerous gathering. "What is the meaning of this?" Volkov's voice was controlled but edged with ice, his pleasant host persona slipping to reveal something far more dangerous beneath. His eyes narrowed as they focused on the small girl in the navy dress. The 6 security guards moved simultaneously, converging toward Anna with hands shifting subtly toward concealed weapons. Their synchronized movements confirmed everything Anna had suspected about their coordinated intentions. Tessa burst through the kitchen doors, alerted by the commotion, her face paling as she saw her daughter surrounded by advancing security personnel. "Anna!" she cried, rushing forward only to be blocked by 2 staff members following security protocols. "Mr. Lupo raised his hand, a simple gesture that somehow commanded immediate respect from everyone present. "Wait," he said, his voice carrying easily across the deck despite its soft volume. "Let me speak with the child." The security team hesitated, exchanging glances that Anna now understood perfectly. Uncertainty, disrupted plans, unspoken questions about how to proceed when the target himself intervened. Their visual code conveyed mounting panic beneath professional exteriors. Mr. Lupo knelt to Anna's level, dark eyes studying her with uncommon intensity. "You knocked over my special drink," he stated. Not a question, but an observation. Was there a particular reason for that? Anna's extraordinary gift extended beyond languages and codes. She could read truth in faces with uncanny precision. She saw genuine curiosity in Mr. Lupo's expression, and something else, a recognition of kindred uniqueness that gave her courage. "The men with red squares in their pockets," she whispered, voice barely audible above the yacht's ambient sounds. "They talk with their eyes about putting something bad in your glass that would make your heart stop." Mr. Lupo's expression remained unchanged, but Anna noticed the nearly imperceptible tightening around his eyes. He believed her. Rising slowly to his full height, he surveyed the deck with new awareness, noting the positions of the 6 security guards. Volkov laughed with forced joviality, attempting to salvage the moment. "Children and their imaginations. Please let us prepare fresh drinks and continue our celebration without further interruption." His smile remained fixed while his eyes conveyed murderous rage. The lead security guard touched his earpiece, receiving new instructions that Anna couldn't hear, but could guess from his subtle hand signal to the others. Abort the current plan but remain on standby. The poisoning attempt had failed, but the danger hadn't passed. Tessa finally broke through to her daughter, gathering Anna protectively in her arms. "I'm so sorry," she apologized to both powerful men, fear evident in her voice. "She gets overexcited sometimes. Please forgive the disruption. No harm done," Mr. Lupo replied with surprising gentleness, though his eyes never left Volkov's face. "Children see things we adults often miss." The statement hung in the air between the two power brokers like an undetonated explosive. Beneath the polite veneer, a silent war had erupted. Volkov's failed assassination attempt exposed but unproven, Mr. Lupo's awareness confirmed, but his response yet undetermined. The yacht's luxurious deck had transformed into an invisible chessboard. Tessa attempted to retreat with Anna toward the kitchen, but Mr. Lupo gestured subtly to one of his own men who had been disguised as a guest. The man immediately moved to block their path with apologetic professionalism. "Perhaps," Mr. Lupo suggested with deceptive casualness, "the young lady and her mother might join me for a private conversation about what she believes she saw and heard tonight." His tone made it clear this was not actually a request. The yacht's security system activated with a subtle whir, as Dmitry Volkov overrode standard protocols, initiating a lockdown that sealed all exits without alerting the guests. Metal barriers silently slid into place over gangways, while smiling servers continued circulating champagne. Mr. Lupo guided Tessa and Anna toward a private stateroom, his calm demeanor belying the gravity of their situation. His own concealed bodyguard followed 3 paces behind, scanning constantly for threats from Volkov's increasingly agitated security team. "How long have you been able to understand languages you've never learned, Mr. Lupo asked Anna once the stateroom door closed behind them, his question confirming he recognized her gift wasn't ordinary and that he'd accepted her warning without hesitation. Tessa gasped at the direct acknowledgement of her daughter's ability, something they had hidden for years. "How did you know?" she whispered, instinctively positioning herself between Anna and this powerful man, whose life her daughter had just saved. "I've encountered only 2 others with similar gifts in my lifetime," Mr. Lupo replied, his voice softening as he addressed Anna directly. They could decipher patterns most humans miss completely, as if hearing a different frequency of communication. Anna studied the carpet's intricate nautical pattern, gathering courage before meeting his gaze. The men with red squares have different eye movements for different messages. Right eye for targets, left eye for timing, both together for confirmation. Outside the stateroom, the party continued under a veneer of normalcy, while Volkov's security team repositioned themselves throughout the yacht. Their eye signals now communicated a secondary protocol, one involving the yacht's lower decks and engine room. "The Sicilians aren't just security, they're specially trained assassins from Palermo," Anna continued, recalling fragments of whispered conversations. "They called you the Calabrian, and said your territory expansion in the eastern ports couldn't continue." Tessa watched in astonishment as her daughter articulated complex geopolitical conflicts she couldn't possibly understand through conventional means. The child spoke with uncanny precision about matters beyond her years, confirming the extraordinary nature of her perception. Mr. Lupo nodded thoughtfully, revealing nothing in his expression as he processed this information. And Volkov's involvement? Did you catch any communication about that? His question was casual, but carried significant weight. The Russian paid for everything but doesn't give orders directly, Anna explained, reconstructing the hierarchy she'd observed. The lead Sicilian with the scar behind his ear receives instructions from someone not on the yacht, someone they call the Council. A muffled explosion from the lower decks interrupted their conversation, subtle enough that most guests would mistake it for machinery, but significant enough to make Mr. Lupo exchange knowing glances with his bodyguard. The situation was escalating rapidly. Dimitri's contingency plan is activating, Mr. Lupo explained, moving toward a concealed panel in the stateroom wall. We have approximately 7 minutes before this vessel becomes inoperable. He pressed his palm against the panel, revealing an emergency escape route. Tessa clutched Anna protectively, torn between trusting this stranger who seemed to accept her daughter's abilities without question, and fearing the dangers that clearly surrounded him. Why should we follow you instead of finding our own way out? Because the 6 Sicilians saw your daughter expose their plan, and the Council doesn't leave witnesses, Mr. Lupo replied with blunt honesty. Especially not witnesses with extraordinary abilities who could identify their entire network of operatives. A second, louder explosion rocked the yacht, sending fine crystal glasses crashing from shelves as the emergency lighting activated. Alarm systems began blaring throughout the vessel, triggering panicked reactions from the wealthy guests on the main deck. Decision time, Mr. Lupo stated calmly, despite the chaos erupting around them. Trust me and potentially live, or take your chances with Volkov's men and certainly die. His offer contained no emotional manipulation, just the cold reality of their predicament. Tessa looked at Anna, who nodded decisively, her gift telling her Mr. Lupo's intentions were genuine despite his dangerous world. We'll go with you, Tessa agreed, taking her daughter's hand as they followed him into the narrow emergency passage. The hidden corridor bypassed the main deck entirely, leading them through the yacht's structural skeleton toward a secondary helipad at the vessel's stern. Emergency lights cast eerie red shadows as they navigated the cramped space designed for exactly this scenario. Volkov's yacht has 7 emergency exits, but only 3 are genuinely viable during a crisis, Mr. Lupo explained as they hurried along. He's currently monitoring the main routes while implementing a controlled burn in the engine room as distraction. Tessa struggled to process the casual way these powerful men discussed catastrophic events they had clearly prepared for meticulously. You anticipated he might try to kill you tonight, didn't you? She asked, breathless from keeping pace with Mr. Lupo's long strides. I anticipated the possibility, yes, he acknowledged without breaking stride. What I didn't anticipate was that my salvation would come from a 7-year-old linguist with extraordinary perceptual abilities. He glanced back at Anna with undisguised fascination. They emerged onto the secondary helipad, where a sleek black helicopter sat waiting, its pilot already initiating startup procedures, despite no apparent communication from Mr. Lupo. The synchronization spoke volumes about his organization's efficiency. The Charleston harbor spread before them, city lights twinkling against the night sky, while black smoke began billowing from the yacht's lower decks. Distant sirens announced the approach of emergency services responding to the increasingly visible disaster. We have approximately 40 seconds before Volkov's security team calculates our escape route, Mr. Lupo announced, helping Tessa and Anna aboard the helicopter. They're currently preoccupied with evacuating guests to maintain appearances, but that won't last. As if on cue, the door behind them burst open as 2 Sicilian guards emerged onto the helipad, weapons drawn and expressions murderous when they spotted the escaping trio. Their coordinated movements confirmed everything Anna had deduced about their specialized training. Mr. Lupo's bodyguard intercepted the threat with impressive efficiency, his previously concealed weapon appearing in his hand, as he created a defensive position between the guards and the helicopter. Go now, he shouted above the rotor noise, prepared to sacrifice himself. The helicopter lifted off as gunfire erupted below, each shot carefully silenced to prevent alerting the evacuating guests to the true nature of the night's events. Tessa covered Anna's eyes, but couldn't block the sound of conflict fading beneath the chopper's ascent. Your man, Tessa began, uncertain how to address the apparent sacrifice they'd just witnessed as Charleston's skyline receded behind them. The helicopter banked sharply eastward, following a flight path that hugged the coastline at low altitude. Paolo has been with me for 20 years, Mr. Lupo replied without emotion. He'll rendezvous with us later through his own extraction route. His certainty suggested either remarkable faith or a complex contingency planning that Tessa could barely comprehend. 30 minutes later, they touched down on private property 50 miles north along the Carolina coast, a sprawling waterfront estate with its own landing pad and security perimeter. Floodlights illuminated their arrival as staff emerged to greet Mr. Lupo. "Welcome to Safe Harbor," he explained as he helped them disembark, the name seeming both literal and figurative. "My personal residence in the United States, known officially to only 17 people in the world. 18 and 19 now, I suppose." Anna absorbed every detail of their surroundings with her extraordinary perception. The disguised security measures, the strategic positioning of the main house for maximum visibility of approaching threats, the carefully maintained appearance of a wealthy but unremarkable estate. Tessa's mind raced with practical concerns as they were escorted inside. "My apartment, my job, our belongings. We can't just disappear." Her voice trembled slightly as the implications of the night's events began to fully register. "All being handled as we speak," Mr. Lupo assured her with unsettling efficiency. "Your landlord will receive 6 months' advance rent tomorrow morning. Your employer will get notice of a family emergency requiring immediate leave, and essential belongings will be retrieved." The interior of the mansion balanced luxury with functionality. Beautiful, but nothing ostentatious that would draw unwanted attention from neighbors or authorities. Every detail had been considered to maintain the perfect cover of wealthy anonymity. "You'll stay in the East Wing until we determine the full extent of Volkov's network and whether the council has identified you, Mr. Lupo explained, leading them through a grand foyer adorned with tasteful maritime art. "Your safety is now my personal responsibility." Anna tugged at her mother's hand, whispering with childlike directness, "He's not telling us that Volkov's yacht sank with evidence of the assassination attempt." Her comment caused Mr. Lupo to pause mid-stride, clearly surprised by her access to information he hadn't shared. "How could you possibly know that?" he asked, genuine curiosity breaking through his composed facade. "The scuttling protocol wasn't activated until after our departure, and only 3 people have access to that particular contingency." Anna shrugged with the innocent honesty of childhood. "The helicopter pilot received a coded message through his headset during our flight. 3 long tones followed by 2 short ones. In the security team's communication pattern, that sequence means evidence eliminated." Mr. Lupo exchanged glances with his staff, a new appreciation for Anna's abilities evident in his expression. "Perhaps we should discuss the full extent of your daughter's gifts," he suggested to Tessa, as a housekeeper arrived to show them to their quarters. Their temporary accommodations resembled a luxury hotel suite rather than guest rooms. Spacious, self-contained, and subtly secured with state-of-the-art technology disguised as ordinary fixtures. The windows offered breathtaking ocean views, while actually consisting of bulletproof glass. "Rest tonight," Mr. Lupo advised, pausing at the doorway. "Tomorrow we'll discuss your situation more thoroughly, including your options moving forward." His tone carried both assurance and warning. They were protected, but not truly free to leave. Tessa waited until they were alone before kneeling before her daughter, hands trembling slightly as she brushed Anna's hair from her tired eyes. "You saved a man's life tonight by noticing what no one else could see. I'm proud of you, but also terrified." Anna's perceptiveness extended to her mother's emotions, recognizing the complex mixture of fear, pride, and uncertainty swirling beneath her carefully controlled exterior. The guards would have hurt other people too, not just Mr. Lupo. "I had to do something." Morning arrived with coastal fog rolling across the manicured grounds, shrouding the property in natural privacy as Tessa and Anna were escorted to breakfast on a covered terrace. Mr. Lupo awaited them, reading financial reports beside a spread of fresh fruit and pastries. "News reports are calling it an unfortunate mechanical failure," he commented without preamble, showing them a tablet displaying headlines about Volkov's yacht. 3 deceased, including our host, who apparently went down with his ship rather heroically. Tessa nearly choked on her tea, processing the implication. "Volkov is dead? After just trying to kill you yesterday?" The speed and efficiency of this world's retribution was staggering, reminding her how completely out of her depth she and Anna had become. "The council doesn't tolerate failure," Mr. Lupo explained simply, offering Anna a plate of perfectly cut fruit, especially not public failure that draws unwanted attention to their operations. Volkov became a liability the moment his assassination attempt was exposed. A helicopter approached from the east, its distinctive engine sound causing Mr. Lupo to check his watch with satisfaction. "Right on schedule," he noted as Paolo, the bodyguard they'd last seen facing armed Sicilians, stepped onto the terrace looking remarkably unharmed. The remaining Sicilians have been recalled to Palermo for a performance review, Paolo reported, accepting a coffee from the waiting staff. 4 survived the yacht incident but won't survive the week. The council is implementing standard containment protocols. Anna ate her breakfast quietly, absorbing every word while connecting invisible dots between fragments of information. Her remarkable mind was constructing an organizational flowchart of power relationships that adults would need sophisticated software to visualize. Mr. Lupo turned his attention to Tessa, his expression serious, but not unkind. We need to discuss your daughter's future security. The abilities she possesses make her uniquely valuable to organizations that would exploit her without hesitation or mercy. Tessa's protective instincts flared immediately. We've kept her gift secret for years. Last night was an anomaly. We can disappear, change names, move across the country. No one needs to know what she can do. Her desperation was evident despite her attempt at confidence. The council already knows, Mr. Lupo countered gently. And unlike Volkov, they don't make mistakes. They employ specialized trackers specifically tasked with identifying individuals with extraordinary abilities for recruitment or elimination. Anna spoke up suddenly, her childlike voice incongruous with her insights. You want to protect us because I'm like you. Her simple statement silenced the adults, hanging in the air between them like a revealed secret none had dared articulate. Mr. Lupo studied her thoughtfully before nodding once in confirmation. I was 12 when my abilities manifested. Not language like yours, but pattern recognition in human behavior. I could predict decisions people would make before they knew themselves. That's how you built your organization, Anna deduced, connecting facts no one had explicitly shared with her. You saw patterns others missed, predicted market shifts and competitor moves, knew which allies would remain loyal and which would betray you. A rare smile crossed Mr. Lupo's face, the genuine expression of someone who'd finally found another person who truly understood. Precisely. And now I'm offering you both a choice. My protection and resources, in exchange for helping my organization in ways that never exploit Anna's gifts. Paolo cleared his throat respectfully, reminding his boss of unstated complications. Sir, the education program would need significant adjustments for someone so young, and the mother's integration presents logistical challenges given her lack of background. Adjustments can be made. Mr. Lupo replied to Paolo's concerns with the confidence of a man accustomed to solving complex problems. We'll create a specialized educational framework that nurtures Anna's abilities while preserving her childhood. Tessa's mind reeled with contradictions. This man operated in a shadowy world of assassination attempts and sunken yachts, yet spoke of preserving her daughter's childhood with seemingly genuine concern. The cognitive dissonance was overwhelming. What exactly would you expect from us? She finally asked, forcing practicality through her fear. I'm a chef, not a whatever it is your organization does. She deliberately avoided specific terminology that might someday be denied in court. Mr. Lupo gestured toward the sprawling kitchen visible through French doors. Safe harbor requires a head chef capable of handling everything from intimate gatherings to diplomatic functions. Your culinary reputation preceded you even before last night's events. Anna studied the grounds visible from the terrace, her extraordinary mind calculating distances and sight lines that formed another pattern. The trees are planted to block sniper positions, she observed casually, and the garden paths create choke points for intruders. Mr. Lupo's eyebrows rose slightly. Her perception extended beyond language and communication to strategic security design. Correct. This property was constructed with 17 different security considerations, each layered within seemingly decorative choices. You're offering us sanctuary in exchange for my cooking and my daughter's consultation? Tessa clarified, struggling to formulate the arrangement in terms that didn't sound like exploitation or imprisonment, though elements of both lurked beneath the surface. Initially, yes, Mr. Lupo confirmed, his honesty disarming. Over time, if you choose to integrate further into our operations, opportunities would expand accordingly. Our legitimate businesses span numerous industries that could benefit from your respective talents. A sudden commotion at the property's main gate interrupted their conversation, security personnel mobilizing with practiced efficiency as surveillance monitors displayed a convoy of black SUVs approaching the checkpoint. Paolo immediately moved to a defensive position. Mr. Lupo checked his phone, frowning at the unexpected development. It seems the council has dispatched representatives sooner than anticipated. Their intelligence network is evidently more responsive than our models predicted. His tone remained calm despite the implicit threat. Anna tilted her head, processing information beyond normal perception. There are 7 men in the cars, but only 5 are visible in the camera feeds. 2 are hiding. Her matter-of-fact statement sent Paolo immediately to the security monitors for confirmation. "How could you possibly know that?" Tessa whispered, both awed and frightened by her daughter's seemingly limitless perceptive abilities, which appeared to be expanding rather than remaining confined to language and visual codes. "The weight distribution of the vehicles is wrong," Anna explained, pointing to barely perceptible details on the monitor screens. "The suspension compression indicates additional passengers concealed in the modified compartments behind the rear seats." Paolo confirmed her assessment with thermal imaging, his professional composure briefly cracking to reveal astonishment. "She's exactly right. The hidden operatives are carrying specialized equipment consistent with extraction protocols. They're here for the girl. Activate countermeasure protocol, Sierra," Mr. Lupo instructed calmly, turning to Tessa and Anna with renewed urgency. "We need to move you both to a secure location immediately. The Council's interest in Anna has clearly escalated beyond initial assessment." Security panels slid open throughout the residence, revealing hidden caches of equipment and weapons as staff transformed from polite household employees to tactical operators with military precision. The peaceful breakfast scene dissolved into controlled chaos within seconds. "But how did they find us so quickly?" Tessa demanded as Paolo escorted them through a concealed door behind a bookcase, leading to a reinforced safe room beneath the east wing. "You said this location was known to only 17 people. 18 and 19 now," Anna reminded her mother softly, the implication clear in her tone. Their arrival had somehow compromised operational security despite all precautions. They followed the helicopter's flight path using satellite thermal imaging. Mr. Lupo joined them in the safe room, having changed into tactical gear that transformed his aristocratic appearance into something more utilitarian and dangerous. Anna's correct again. They tracked residual heat signatures despite our countermeasures. The safe room resembled a high-tech command center more than a bunker, with multiple monitoring stations displaying camera feeds from throughout the property. The approaching convoy had been permitted through the outer gate, but halted at the secondary checkpoint. "They're requesting parley under traditional protocols," explained Paolo, after receiving communication from the gate security team. "Their designated speaker claims council authority to negotiate terms regarding this special asset, witnessed at yesterday's incident." Mr. Lupo's expression hardened at the term asset being applied to a 7-year-old child. "Inform them that Safe Harbor acknowledges no council authority within its boundaries, but will permit 2 unarmed representatives to approach the South Pavilion." Tessa watched in horrified fascination as this parallel world of protocols, territories, and power structures revealed itself, a shadow civilization operating alongside normal society, with its own rules and hierarchies that somehow remained invisible to ordinary people. "Will your men be able to protect us if they decide to attack?" she asked, unconsciously pulling Anna closer, as the reality of their situation became increasingly dire. "They seem very determined to get to my daughter. My security team includes former Special Forces operators from 7 different countries," Mr. Lupo assured her with calm confidence. "But more importantly, the Council prefers negotiation to open conflict when dealing with established powers. They're pragmatists, not zealots." On the monitors, 2 men in impeccable suits exited the lead vehicle and submitted to security scans before being escorted toward the designated meeting point. Their measured movements and perfect posture suggested extensive military training beneath the business attire. "I should meet them alone," Mr. Lupo decided after observing their approach. "Paolo will remain here with you to coordinate security response if necessary." He checked his concealed sidearm with practiced efficiency before heading toward the elevator. Anna tugged her mother's sleeve, pointing to subtle details on the security feeds. "The man on the left keeps touching his watch. It's not just a timepiece, it's a communication device. He's recording everything to report back to whoever sent them." The delegation from the council awaited Mr. Lupo in the pavilion, maintaining perfect composure despite the armed security personnel positioned strategically around the perimeter. Their expressions revealed nothing as the Lord of Safe Harbor approached their position. Mr. Lupo returned 45 minutes later, his expression unreadable as the elevator doors opened to reveal him alone. The monitors showed the council representatives departing through the main gate, their mission apparently concluded without violence. "They offered $30 million for Anna," he announced without preamble, his disgust evident despite his controlled tone. "When I declined, they proposed a shared resource arrangement with guaranteed safety for both mother and child under their protection program." Tessa gasped at the casual commodification of her daughter, while Anna simply nodded as though confirming something she had already intuited. "Did you tell them no?" Tessa demanded, her maternal protective instinct overriding any fear of this dangerous world. "I informed them that Anna and her mother are under my personal protection, and any attempt to separate or exploit them would trigger immediate implementation of the Gibraltar Protocol." Mr. Lupo's statement carried the weight of an ultimate deterrent. "What's the Gibraltar Protocol?" Tessa whispered, while Anna's eyes widened with understanding before anyone could respond, her gift somehow allowing her to grasp the implications from context and subtle cues that others would miss entirely. "It's mutually assured destruction," Anna explained quietly, "but with information instead of weapons. If they harm us, Mr. Lupo releases everything he knows about the Council to authorities worldwide." Her simplified explanation captured the essence of a complex contingency plan. Mr. Lupo nodded in confirmation, impressed once again by Anna's perceptiveness. "Precisely. My organization maintains extensive documentation on Council operations across 17 countries. A dead man's switch that activates if certain conditions are met. They've retreated temporarily, but this isn't over," Paolo reported after reviewing security footage of the Council delegation's departure. "Their body language indicates strategic withdrawal rather than acceptance of your terms." Mr. Lupo agreed with this assessment, his tactical mind already calculating probabilities and countermeasures. "We need to accelerate your integration process," he told Tessa and Anna. "Establishing your official positions within our legitimate operations creates additional legal protections." 3 days later, Tessa found herself touring a gleaming restaurant kitchen in downtown Charleston, the crown jewel of Mr. Lupo's hospitality holdings, and apparently her new professional domain. The executive chef position had unexpectedly become available overnight. "You'll have complete creative control over the menu and staff," explained Mr. Lupo as they walked through the state-of-the-art facility. "The restaurant provides perfect cover for your sudden career advancement, while maintaining proximity to safe harbor." The adjacent office included a special classroom space where Anna would receive her education from private tutors, specially vetted by Paolo's security team. One-way glass and concealed security measures ensured her safety without creating an obvious prison-like environment. "We've developed a specialized curriculum that balances traditional education with targeted development of her unique abilities," Mr. Lupo explained, showing Tessa the comprehensive plan developed by educational specialists within his organization. Nothing exploitative, just nurturing her natural gifts. Tessa ran her fingers over the detailed educational materials, recognizing the exceptional quality and thoughtfulness behind them. "You prepared all this in just 3 days?" she asked, increasingly aware of the vast resources at Mr. Lupo's disposal. "We've maintained similar programs for special individuals since 1997, he acknowledged, though Anna's case is unique enough to require significant customization. The baseline framework already existed. His matter-of-fact tone suggested this wasn't their first such arrangement. Anna explored her new learning space with curious enthusiasm, immediately identifying the subtle security features integrated into the seemingly ordinary classroom design. "The bookshelf is reinforced steel, and the carpet pattern hides pressure sensors," she observed with approval. Over the following weeks, Tessa found herself settling into a surreal new routine, creating culinary masterpieces by day in her prestigious new position, while living under sophisticated protection at safe harbor by night. The arrangement was both golden cage and sanctuary. Anna flourished under the specialized educational program, her extraordinary abilities expanding beyond language and visual patterns to include mathematical systems, musical structures, and cryptographic codes. Her tutors frequently found themselves learning from their young student. Mr. Lupo visited their progress regularly, his initially professional interest in Anna gradually warming into something resembling avuncular affection. He brought puzzles and code samples that would challenge normal cryptographers, watching with undisguised fascination as she solved them effortlessly. "The Council has made 2 additional approaches through intermediaries," Paolo informed Mr. Lupo during their weekly security briefing, which Tessa now attended as part of the inner circle. "They've increased their financial offer to $50 million and proposed a formal alliance." Mr. Lupo dismissed these overtures with a wave of his hand. Their persistence indicates growing desperation. "Our sources suggest a significant operation is approaching that requires Anna's specific capabilities, something involving diplomatic communications they can't decode." Tessa had gradually adapted to this shadow world of international intrigue, finding her maternal protective instincts evolving into strategic thinking where Anna's safety was concerned. Can we use their desperation as leverage to secure more permanent guarantees of our safety? An excellent suggestion, Mr. Lupo approved, his respect for Tessa's developing tactical mindset evident. We'll propose a formal non-interference agreement with penalties severe enough to discourage future attempts at acquisition or elimination of your daughter. Anna continued developing relationships with the staff at Safe Harbor, who transitioned from professional protectors to something like extended family. Even Paolo's stern demeanor softened around her, particularly after she identified a security vulnerability in their communication protocols that had gone undetected for years. The restaurant thrived under Tessa's direction, earning critical acclaim and becoming Charleston's most coveted reservation within months of her taking the helm. The success provided perfect cover for their new lives while establishing her legitimate professional identity. Autumn arrived with cooling breezes off the Atlantic and increasing security concerns as the council's operational timeline apparently accelerated. Surveillance detected increased movement of known operatives in coastal regions between Savannah and Wilmington. They're establishing a perimeter, Paolo concluded after analyzing intelligence reports from Mr. Lupo's network. Preparing for something significant within the next 7 to 10 days based on resource deployment patterns and communication frequency. Mr. Lupo increased security accordingly, implementing additional protocols that restricted Tessa and Anna's movements to secure locations only. The restaurant operation continued under the supervision of Tessa's newly trained sous chef, maintaining appearances while they remained at Safe Harbor. I don't understand why they're so fixated on Anna specifically, Tessa confessed during a private conversation with Mr. Lupo on the secure terrace. Surely there must be others with similar abilities they could approach without this level of conflict. That's precisely the issue. There aren't others, he explained, his expression troubled. In 30 years of searching, the council has identified only 7 individuals with cognitive capabilities approaching Anna's level, and none with her specific linguistic and pattern recognition abilities. The implications hung heavy in the cooling evening air. Her daughter wasn't just special. She was potentially unique in the world, a realization that explained the extraordinary measures both sides were willing to take regarding a 7-year-old child. Anna herself seemed remarkably composed, despite the escalating tensions surrounding her, adapting to their restricted circumstances with resilience that belied her young age. She continued her studies with focused determination, as though understanding that knowledge was her best defense. They're moving, Paolo announced 3 days later, bursting into Mr. Lupo's study where he had been reviewing financial reports with Tessa. Multiple teams converging on Charleston from different directions. This isn't surveillance anymore. It's an operation. Security feeds showed tactical teams in unmarked vehicles establishing positions throughout the city, focusing particularly on routes between the restaurant and Safe Harbor. Their deployment suggested a coordinated extraction attempt designed to intercept during transit. Activate lockdown protocols and deploy countermeasures, Mr. Lupo ordered immediately, his voice calm despite the clear escalation. Relocate Anna to the Omega Secure Room and prepare the contingency evacuation route if perimeter defenses are compromised. Tessa hurried to Anna's classroom, finding her daughter already packing essential items into a small backpack with practiced efficiency. You knew they were coming? She asked, continually surprised by the extent of Anna's perceptive abilities. I heard the helicopter engines changing patterns this morning. More security teams arriving means Mr. Lupo anticipated an imminent threat, Anna explained simply, her young voice steady despite the danger. The birds also stopped visiting the north lawn feeders, which means unfamiliar people are positioned in the woods. The Omega Secure Room was unlike any previous safety measure Anna and Tessa had experienced. A reinforced chamber 20 feet below ground level with independent oxygen supply, communication systems, and enough provisions for 30 days. The walls contained a specialized copper mesh blocking all external signals. This location doesn't officially exist, Paolo explained as he secured the heavy door behind them. Not even in Mr. Lupo's private blueprints for Safe Harbor. If compromised, the entire room can be moved via hydraulic platform to a secondary evacuation point. On monitors throughout the chamber, they watched the unfolding security situation with growing concern. Council operatives had established blockades on 3 access routes to the property, while a specialized team approached from the shoreline using advanced submersible equipment. Mr. Lupo coordinated the defense with the calculated precision of someone who had prepared for this scenario extensively. His security teams deployed countermeasures that forced council operatives to abandon multiple entry points without revealing the full extent of Safe Harbor's defensive capabilities. They're testing our response patterns, Paolo observed grimly, watching tactical teams retreat and regroup rather than press advantages. This isn't an all-out assault. It's reconnaissance by force to identify weaknesses for their main operation. The probing attacks continued for 17 hours, gradually decreasing in frequency as the Council gathered the intelligence they sought. By dawn, the property had returned to apparent normalcy, though enhanced security protocols remained active throughout the grounds. "We've identified their primary objective," Mr. Lupo announced, when he finally joined them in the Omega Room, exhaustion evident beneath his composed exterior. "They're planning to extract Anna during the Governor's Economic Summit 3 days from now." Tessa felt her blood run cold. "But we're not attending any summit," she protested, looking to Paolo for confirmation. "Anna hasn't left Safe Harbor in weeks, and the restaurant is being run by my sous chef during this security situation." Mr. Lupo exchanged meaningful glances with Paolo before explaining. "You were both scheduled to attend as my special guests. The invitations arrived last month. I declined on your behalf due to security concerns, but the Council apparently obtained the initial guest list. So we're safe as long as we stay here," Tessa reasoned, relief washing over her face as she hugged Anna closer. The constant state of vigilance was taking its toll on both of them, despite their adaptation to their new reality. "Unfortunately, the situation is more complicated," Mr. Lupo countered, activating a holographic display in the center of the secure room. "The Council has deployed a secondary team to your former apartment building with a disturbing contingency plan." The display showed thermal imaging of operatives placing devices throughout the structure where they had once lived. Anna recognized the pattern immediately. "Those are incendiary charges," she whispered, her extraordinary mind calculating blast radius and structural failure points. "Correct," Paolo confirmed grimly. "They're prepared to eliminate your former neighbors to create leverage, threatening civilian casualties, unless you surrender Anna to their custody. Standard Council tactics when direct approaches fail." Tessa's face drained of color as the implications became clear. Innocent families who had lived alongside them, children Anna had played with in the building's small courtyard, elderly neighbors who had occasionally watched her daughter while Tessa worked late shifts. "We need to neutralize their leverage immediately, Mr. Lupo declared, already activating a secure communication channel to a specialized team. "Paolo will coordinate an extraction of all civilians from the building, while our counterintelligence unit deals with the devices." Anna watched the tactical planning with the unnerving calm that had become characteristic of her response to danger. "The third device from the left is different from the others," she observed, pointing to barely perceptible differences in the thermal signature. "It's a trigger mechanism, not an explosive." Both men froze, immediately adjusting their approach based on her observation. "She's right," Paolo confirmed after enhancing the imaging. "Standard Council protocol, a master detonator disguised as part of the network. Remove that first, or the entire system activates." The evacuation proceeded under the guise of a gas leak. Municipal workers actually Mr. Lupo's operatives guiding residents to safety, while specialized technicians neutralized the threat with remarkably little disruption. By nightfall, the Council's leverage had been eliminated, without them realizing their plan had been discovered. "They'll make their final attempt at the summit regardless," Mr. Lupo predicted, reviewing security assessments with his team, "which gives us an opportunity to end this situation permanently if we control the circumstances of the confrontation." The plan that emerged was audacious. Rather than continuing their defensive posture, they would attend the governor's summit as originally invited, but with extensive preparations and counterintelligence measures in place. They would spring the trap intentionally, but on their terms. "You want to use my daughter as bait?" Tessa demanded incredulously when she understood the strategy. "After everything we've done to keep her safe, you want to deliberately put her in their crosshairs?" Her protective instincts flared with renewed intensity. "Not as bait," Mr. Lupo corrected firmly. "As the centerpiece of an operation that will remove the Council's interest permanently. Anna will be protected by our most elite security detail, with 3 separate extraction routes and a clear demonstration of consequences should anything go wrong." The preparation was meticulous. Every staff member at the summit venue vetted, security systems augmented with proprietary technology, and a comprehensive intelligence operation identifying all Council operatives expected to participate in the extraction attempt. The Charleston Convention Center gleamed with polished marble and crystal chandeliers as the state's most influential figures gathered for the annual economic summit. Security was visibly enhanced due to the governor's presence, though none of the regular attendees realized just how extraordinary the measures truly were. Mr. Lupo arrived fashionably late, making a calculated entrance with Tessa and Anna beside him. The renowned restaurateur and her precocious daughter now firmly established as part of his legitimate business circle. Their appearance triggered subtle movements among various staff members positioned throughout the ballroom. Anna wore a custom-designed dress with a seemingly decorative pattern that actually contained advanced protective materials and tracking technology. Her golden sandals, reminiscent of those worn on the yacht months earlier, concealed communication devices linking her directly to Paolo's security team. 7 operatives identified so far, she whispered to Mr. Lupo, her extraordinary perception catching micro-expressions and body language patterns invisible to others. The woman serving champagne, 2 men by the eastern exit, the photographer, and 3 security guards near the governor's position. Mr. Lupo nodded almost imperceptibly, relaying this intelligence through a subvocal communication system to his security team. Their months of working with Anna had taught them to trust her observations implicitly, adjusting their tactical positioning accordingly. The council's plan became apparent as the evening progressed. A staged security incident near the governor would create confusion, during which their extraction team would separate Anna from her protectors using the service corridors. A textbook operation, meticulously planned but fundamentally flawed. They don't realize you can see their entire communication structure, Mr. Lupo murmured to Anna as they accepted refreshments from a legitimate server. Their operational advantage has always been coordinated action through undetectable signals, exactly what you naturally decode. The council's operation commenced precisely at 9:17 p.m., when a fabricated security alert near the governor's entourage created the diversion they required. Uniformed men moved with practiced urgency, their apparent professionalism masking their true affiliation as they established a controlled chaos pattern. Anna felt a hand grasp her arm with firm but carefully measured force, not enough to bruise or alarm bystanders, but sufficient to ensure compliance. "Come with me, little one," a woman in event staff attire instructed with artificial warmth. "We need to move all children to a secure location immediately." Instead of resisting, Anna followed the protocol she had rehearsed extensively with Paolo, appearing compliant while activating her tracking devices with a precise pattern of pressure on her specially designed bracelet. The extraction team believed they were succeeding, unaware they were being led into a trap. The service corridor branched in 3 directions, with the council operatives selecting the central passage that would lead to their waiting vehicle in the staff parking area. Anna noted with calm detachment that they were following exactly the route Mr. Lupo's team had predicted as most probable. "You're very brave," the false event coordinator told Anna with professional admiration as they approached a service exit. "Most children would be frightened by all this commotion, but you seem perfectly calm." Her tone sought to establish rapport while maintaining control of the situation. "I'm not afraid of you," Anna replied with simple honesty, making direct eye contact with her captor. "But you should be afraid of what happens next." The statement, delivered in the matter-of-fact voice of a child, visibly unnerved the woman just as the first phase of Mr. Lupo's countermeasure activated. The service exit door they had been approaching locked automatically with an audible click, followed in sequence by every door in the corridor. Emergency lighting replaced the standard fixtures, bathing the enclosed space in a distinctive blue glow that disoriented the council operatives momentarily. "Containment protocol active," announced a calm voice over previously hidden speakers. "Please remain in position for security processing." The clinical terminology masked the reality. Mr. Lupo's team had isolated the extraction team in a controlled environment of their own design. The woman's professional demeanor cracked slightly as she realized their carefully planned operation had been compromised. Her hand moved toward a concealed weapon, stopping only when Anna spoke again with unnerving precision. "The blue light disables the firing mechanism in your Glock 43X. Standard council sidearm, but unfortunately susceptible to specialized electromagnetic interference." Mr. Lupo's security team emerged from concealed positions within the corridor's architectural features, their weapons trained on the now trapped council operatives. Paolo personally approached to escort Anna safely behind their defensive perimeter with practiced efficiency. "The council made a critical error," Mr. Lupo announced as he joined them in the corridor, addressing the captured operatives directly. "They assumed the girl was simply an extraordinary linguistic talent, not understanding that she perceives entire systems of communication, including your operational patterns." The lead council operative maintained her composure, despite the failure of her mission. "This changes nothing in the long term," she stated with professional detachment. "The asset's value to our operations remains constant, regardless of temporary setbacks." Mr. Lupo's expression hardened at the continued reference to Anna as an asset rather than a child. There will be no further attempts, he informed them with quiet certainty. As we speak, your oversight committee is receiving comprehensive documentation of every operation conducted in North America over the past decade. The woman's carefully controlled expression faltered as she processed the implication. You wouldn't trigger the Gibraltar Protocol over a failed extraction, she challenged, though uncertainty had crept into her voice. Mutual destruction benefits neither organization. Not the full protocol, Mr. Lupo clarified, with the confidence of someone holding an unbeatable position. Just enough evidence to ensure the council understands that Anna and her mother are permanently removed from your acquisition list. Consider it a good faith demonstration of consequences. Within hours, communication arrived through established back channels. The council formally acknowledged the new status quo, recognizing that the potential benefits of acquiring Anna no longer outweighed the demonstrated costs. A non-interference agreement was transmitted with all appropriate authentication markers. The weeks following the summit operation brought significant changes to Tessa and Anna's arrangement with Mr. Lupo's organization. Their status evolved from protected assets to valued associates, with increasing integration into legitimate business operations and strategic planning. Tessa's restaurant became a cornerstone of Mr. Lupo's hospitality portfolio, earning a Michelin star in record time while serving as an ideal public-facing role that justified her connection to influential circles. Her natural talent for culinary innovation complemented her growing comfort with their unusual circumstances. Anna's educational program expanded to include specialized modules from universities and think tanks, all carefully vetted and administered through Mr. Lupo's educational foundation. Her extraordinary mind absorbed complex systems theory, cryptographic principles, and diplomatic protocols with the same effortless perception she applied to everything. The council has honored the non-interference agreement remarkably well, Paolo reported during their monthly security assessment, 6 months after the summit incident. Surveillance indicates they've reassigned all operatives previously tasked with acquisition to operations in Southeast Asia. Mr. Lupo nodded with satisfaction, though his vigilance remained undiminished. Their compliance was predictable once they realized the catastrophic consequences of continued pursuit. Even the council balances risk against reward in their operational calculus. Anna, now 8 years old after celebrating a birthday with surprising normalcy given their circumstances, had developed her own security awareness that sometimes surpassed even Paolo's professional assessments. Her gift had evolved from passive perception to active threat analysis. They're not pursuing us directly anymore, she observed, while working on advanced mathematical equations that would challenge graduate students. But they've assigned watchers to monitor our activities from permitted distances. The man who sells newspapers near the restaurant changes every 3rd day. Tessa had gradually adjusted to her daughter's extraordinary capabilities, finding a delicate balance between nurturing Anna's gift and preserving what childhood experiences remained possible within their security constraints. Weekend trips to carefully vetted destinations provided moments of normalcy. Their visit to a private beach property owned by Mr. Lupo's organization allowed Anna rare opportunities to simply be a child, building elaborate sand structures that happened to demonstrate advanced architectural principles, but with the uninhibited joy any 8-year-old might exhibit. Mr. Lupo often joined these excursions, his initially professional interest in Anna's development having evolved into genuine affection. The man who commanded a vast network of power and influence found unexpected pleasure in teaching a brilliant child to skip stones across ocean waves. Have you ever considered what Anna might choose for herself when she's older? Tessa asked him during one such outing, watching her daughter categorize seashells according to a classification system she had invented. Beyond the security arrangements and specialized education, the question gave Mr. Lupo pause, a rare occurrence for someone accustomed to considering all contingencies. I've established trusts and legal frameworks ensuring her complete autonomy once she reaches adulthood. Her extraordinary abilities shouldn't determine her life path without her consent. This perspective reinforced Tessa's growing trust in their arrangement. Despite the dangerous world they now inhabited, Mr. Lupo consistently demonstrated concern for Anna's well-being beyond her strategic value, a critical distinction from the council's approach to assets with special abilities. Anna's social development proceeded alongside her intellectual growth, though with necessary adaptations to their security reality. Carefully vetted children of Mr. Lupo's associates occasionally visited Safe Harbor, providing peer interactions within the protective environment. She processes information differently than other children, observed one of her specialized tutors after a particularly impressive demonstration of Anna's pattern recognition abilities. But her emotional intelligence and empathy remain absolutely age-appropriate, perhaps even advanced given her experiences. This balance became increasingly important as Mr. Lupo gradually introduced Anna to controlled aspects of his organization's operations, always with Tessa's explicit approval and strict limitations ensuring appropriate content. Her natural gift for identifying communication patterns proved invaluable in diplomatic negotiations. During one particularly tense negotiation with European business partners, Anna quietly identified inconsistencies in their stated positions by observing micro-expressions and linguistic patterns. Her observations, discreetly relayed to Mr. Lupo, prevented a significant strategic miscalculation. "Your daughter just saved us from a $30 million error," he informed Tessa afterward, genuine appreciation evident in his tone. "She identified deceptive indicators I would have missed entirely despite decades of experience reading people." Tessa felt the familiar mixture of pride and concern that had become her constant companion. "I'm glad she could help, but I worry about exposing her to these high-stakes situations. She's still a child despite her extraordinary abilities." "An entirely valid concern," Mr. Lupo acknowledged with characteristic directness. "We'll establish clearer boundaries regarding her involvement in operational matters until she's older. Her well-being takes precedence over any strategic advantage her perceptions might provide." This willingness to prioritize Anna's needs over organizational benefits further distinguished Mr. Lupo from the council in Tessa's estimation. Though his world remained morally complex, his treatment of Anna consistently demonstrated respect for her humanity beyond her capabilities. As Anna's 8th birthday faded into memory, and her 9th approached on the horizon, their extraordinary life acquired a rhythm that almost resembled normalcy, albeit a normalcy that included sophisticated security protocols and interaction with some of the world's most powerful figures. The calm routine they had established shattered on a Tuesday morning when Paolo burst into Tessa's office at the restaurant, his normally composed demeanor visibly shaken. "We need to move immediately," he announced without preamble. "Breach in primary security protocols. Safe harbor has been compromised." Within minutes, Tessa and Anna were secured in an armored vehicle moving swiftly toward an undisclosed location, leaving the confused restaurant staff behind with a hastily fabricated story about a family emergency. The practiced efficiency of the extraction revealed how thoroughly they had prepared for this contingency. "What happened?" Tessa demanded once they were safely in transit, Anna silent beside her with the focused calm she displayed during security situations. "I thought the council agreed to non-interference months ago. Have they violated the agreement?" Paolo shook his head grimly, checking secure communications while their driver navigated a complex route designed to identify potential surveillance. "Not the council. This is something else entirely. A new player has entered the equation with significant resources and detailed intelligence about our operations." Anna studied the passing scenery with heightened awareness, her extraordinary perceptions cataloging subtle details others would miss entirely. "We're being followed by 2 vehicles," she announced with certainty that required no verification. "Dark blue sedan 3 cars back, silver SUV in the parallel lane matching our exact speed." Their driver immediately executed a series of pre-planned evasive maneuvers, confirming Anna's assessment as both identified vehicles attempted to maintain their pursuit pattern. Paolo activated additional security measures from a specialized tablet, coordinating response teams through encrypted channels. "Extraction Team Bravo engaging pursuit vehicles," he reported after receiving confirmation through his earpiece. "Primary route now compromised. Initiating contingency pathway Delta." The vehicle abruptly turned down a service road that appeared barely wide enough for their passage. Tessa held Anna's hand tightly as their vehicle accelerated through increasingly narrow passages, eventually emerging onto a private airstrip, where a sleek jet stood waiting with engines already running. The practiced precision of their security team transformed potential panic into controlled urgency. "Mr. Lupo is already aboard," Paolo informed them, as they hurried across the tarmac, security personnel forming a protective perimeter around their approach. Full briefing once airborne, wheels up in 90 seconds. The timeline left no room for questions or hesitation. The aircraft interior revealed a mobile command center rather than typical luxury accommodations. Communications equipment, security monitors, and tactical planning stations occupied space where comfortable seating might otherwise be found. Mr. Lupo awaited them at a central workstation, his expression grave. "I apologize for the abrupt extraction," he began, once they were airborne and secure. "But we've encountered a security situation requiring immediate response." Someone has acquired detailed knowledge of our operations, including Safe Harbor's defensive capabilities and Anna's special abilities. The implications sent a chill through Tessa. After months of growing comfort and relative normalcy, they were thrust back into acute danger without warning. How is that possible? Your security protocols are extraordinary, and the number of people with complete knowledge is extremely limited. That's precisely what concerns us, Paolo interjected, displaying surveillance footage on the main screen. Initial assessment suggests the information could only have come from someone within our inner security circle. We're dealing with a sophisticated insider threat. Anna studied the tactical displays with the same focused attention she applied to mathematical equations or language patterns. "Where are we going?" she asked, her voice steady despite the obvious danger. "This flight path doesn't match any of our pre-established emergency destinations." "Correct observation," Mr. Lupo confirmed, impressed as always by her perceptiveness. "We're implementing Ultra Protocol Omega, a contingency known only to myself and Paolo, established specifically for scenarios involving potential internal compromise." The aircraft banked sharply eastward, flying low over the Atlantic coastline before adjusting to a southeastern heading. Tactical displays showed pursuit aircraft attempting to track their movement until sophisticated countermeasures obscured their signature from conventional tracking systems. "Our destination is a privately owned island in international waters," Mr. Lupo explained, displaying satellite imagery of a small landmass with minimal development visible. "The property exists through 17 layers of corporate separation from any known associates of our organization." Tessa processed this information with the strategic mindset she had developed over months of security briefings. If someone within your organization betrayed operational details, won't they also know about emergency protocols and contingency locations? "Ordinarily, yes," Paolo acknowledged, "which is why Ultra Protocol Omega exists outside standard contingency planning. This location was established through channels completely separate from our normal security infrastructure, funded through accounts unconnected to our primary operations." Anna suddenly straightened in her seat, her attention focused on a particular tactical display showing pursuit patterns. "The aircraft following us is using a predictive algorithm to anticipate our course corrections," she observed with absolute certainty. "The pattern matches Mr. Lupo's preferred evasive sequence." Paolo immediately verified her assessment, tactical displays confirming that pursuit aircraft were indeed anticipating their maneuvers with uncanny accuracy. "She's right. They're not following our emissions or radar signature. They're predicting our tactical decisions based on historical patterns." "Which confirms our worst-case scenario," Mr. Lupo concluded grimly, already implementing additional countermeasures. "Only someone with intimate knowledge of my operational tendencies could develop such a predictive model. The compromise extends to the highest levels of our organization. Their aircraft executed a series of completely unorthodox maneuvers that defied standard tactical doctrine, effectively breaking the pursuit aircraft's predictive tracking. The pilot, clearly briefed on Ultra Protocol Omega's unconventional requirements, demonstrated extraordinary skill navigating the unplanned course adjustments. Pursuit aircraft no longer on tracking systems," Paolo confirmed after several tense minutes. "Either they've abandoned the chase or lost our signature completely. Estimated arrival at Omega location in 47 minutes assuming current heading and speed." The island revealed itself on the horizon, a small, densely vegetated landmass with minimal visible infrastructure, nestled within the Caribbean waters. Unlike Mr. Lupo's other properties, this location prioritized obscurity over luxury, its existence protected through careful legal constructs and strategic insignificance. "Welcome to Nova Vita," Mr. Lupo announced as their aircraft approached a concealed landing strip, barely distinguishable from the surrounding landscape. Officially uninhabited, according to all international records, satellite surveillance, and navigation charts. The landing proceeded with expert precision despite challenging crosswinds and the strip's limited dimensions. Ground personnel emerged from camouflaged positions only after specific authentication protocols were completed, their movements disciplined and efficient despite the remote posting. Their temporary residence proved surprisingly comfortable despite its tactical purpose, a low-profile structure built into the natural contours of the island's eastern ridge, offering defensive positioning with 270-degree visibility of surrounding waters, while remaining nearly invisible to passing aircraft or vessels. "The facility is entirely self-sufficient," Paolo explained as they toured the essential areas. "Geothermal power, water purification systems, hydroponic gardens, and enough supplies to sustain us indefinitely if necessary. Communications are limited to secure quantum-encrypted channels only. Anna explored their new environment with characteristic thoroughness, her extraordinary perception identifying defensive features disguised within seemingly natural elements of the landscape. The rock formations on the northern approach are artificial, she observed. Perfect positioning for surveillance equipment. Very observant, Mr. Lupo confirmed, increasingly unsurprised by her insights. The entire island incorporates defensive architecture within natural features, a security principle dating back centuries, but executed with modern technology. Even knowing what to look for, most experts would miss the integrations. Tessa watched her daughter acclimate to yet another disruption with remarkable resilience, finding herself simultaneously proud of Anna's adaptability and grieved by the necessity for it. Their life had become an endless series of security protocols and contingency plans, normalcy an increasingly distant memory. "How long will we need to stay here?" she asked during a private moment with Mr. Lupo, watching Anna explore a tidal pool under the watchful eye of security personnel. "And what happens when whoever compromised your organization eventually finds this location too?" Mr. Lupo's expression remained carefully neutral, though Tessa had learned to recognize the subtle indicators of his concern. "We'll remain until we identify and neutralize the source of the compromise. As for discovery, Nova Vita incorporates lessons learned from every previous security failure we've experienced." That evening, while Anna slept in their secure quarters, the adults gathered in the command center to assess their situation more candidly than they had dared while she was present. Tactical displays showed security sweeps occurring across Mr. Lupo's global network, seeking the origin of the betrayal. "Initial assessment indicates the breach originated approximately 3 weeks ago," Paolo reported, displaying timeline analytics across multiple screens. Surveillance protocols identified unusual access patterns in our tertiary security archives, but the intrusion was sophisticated enough to evade immediate detection. Mr. Lupo studied the data with the focused intensity that had built his organization, seeking patterns that might reveal the perpetrator. "The timing coincides with negotiations regarding our European shipping operations. Several key partners received unprecedented access to peripheral systems during those discussions. Could it be the Council testing the boundaries of our agreement?" Tessa suggested, her strategic thinking having evolved considerably during their months together. "Perhaps not a direct violation, but rather an assessment of vulnerabilities for potential future exploitation." "Possible, but unlikely," Paolo countered, displaying intercept data on auxiliary screens. "The Council's operational signature is distinct. This intrusion methodology suggests different origin. The technical sophistication indicates state-level resources rather than private organization capabilities." This revelation shifted the atmosphere in the command center significantly. State actors represented an entirely different category of threat, with resources and reach exceeding even Mr. Lupo's considerable capabilities. Their situation had escalated beyond even the worst-case scenarios they had previously contemplated. "If we're facing government resources, our conventional countermeasures may prove insufficient," Mr. Lupo acknowledged, the rare admission of vulnerability demonstrating the gravity of their situation. "We need to identify which specific interests are targeting Anna and why the sudden escalation after months of relative stability." The Charleston waterfront sparkled with holiday lights reflecting across the harbor as Tessa applied finishing touches to a special anniversary dinner in her restaurant's private dining room. Exactly 18 months had passed since the fateful night when Anna's extraordinary perception had prevented an assassination on Volkov's yacht. Anna, now approaching her 10th birthday, helped arrange place settings with meticulous attention to detail, her slender fingers positioning silverware with mathematical precision while humming a complex melody she had composed that morning. Her navy blue dress with gold accents echoed the outfit from that first night, though now chosen deliberately rather than by circumstance. "Are you nervous about seeing everyone together?" Tessa asked, noticing her daughter's focused concentration on the table arrangements. "It's been 3 months since our return from Nova Vita, but this is the first formal gathering of Mr. Lupo's complete inner circle." "Not nervous," Anna replied thoughtfully, adjusting a crystal water glass to perfect alignment. "Just processing all the new security patterns since the protocols changed. The restaurant has 17 more surveillance points than before, and the staff rotation schedule follows a new algorithm. The security restructuring had been comprehensive following their return from 6 months of isolation on Nova Vita. The source of the compromise had eventually been identified, a specialized cyber intrusion originating from a foreign intelligence service seeking Anna's capabilities for code-breaking operations. Mr. Lupo had leveraged extensive diplomatic connections to neutralize the threat through channels entirely separate from his organization's usual operations. The resolution involved complex arrangements with multiple intelligence agencies, establishing Anna as fundamentally untouchable without triggering international incidents. Their return to Charleston had been carefully orchestrated, with enhanced security protocols and legal protections that extended beyond Mr. Lupo's personal resources to include formal agreements with legitimate authorities. Anna's extraordinary abilities were now officially classified information, protected under national security provisions. Tessa's restaurant had reopened to critical acclaim, its temporary closure explained through elaborate cover stories involving renovation and menu development. Her position within Mr. Lupo's organization had evolved from protected asset to essential partner, her culinary empire expanding to 3 locations across the eastern seaboard. Anna's education continued under specialized guidance, now supplemented by carefully screened instructors from prestigious institutions who signed extensive non-disclosure agreements before working with her. Her gift had continued developing in unexpected directions, particularly in mathematical systems and musical structures that somehow connected to her linguistic abilities. The private dining room door opened precisely at 7 o'clock, as Mr. Lupo arrived with Paolo and key members of their security team, the first time this core group had gathered in one location since the Nova Vita incident. Their expressions carried the measured alertness of people who had navigated extraordinary danger together. A momentous occasion deserves a suitable celebration, Mr. Lupo announced, presenting Tessa with legal documents bearing official government seals. As of this morning, the final protocols have been implemented. Anna is now officially under multinational protection status through classified executive orders. The implications were profound. Beyond even Mr. Lupo's considerable resources, Anna now had protection from the highest levels of government authority. Her status as a unique strategic asset had been formally recognized without exploiting her abilities, establishing unprecedented security without sacrificing her personal development. "We've created something entirely new," Paolo explained, genuine pride evident in his typically reserved demeanor. "A protection framework that preserves autonomy while ensuring security, a model that could revolutionize how exceptional individuals are safeguarded without institutional exploitation." Tessa felt tears threatening as she reviewed the documentation. After 18 months of constant vigilance and adaptation, they had achieved something resembling genuine security. Not perfect freedom, certainly, but protection that didn't require perpetual flight or isolation from the world. Anna accepted the developments with her characteristic calm perception, seemingly unsurprised by the culmination of complex diplomatic negotiations. "This means we can stay in Charleston permanently?" she asked, focusing on the practical implications most important to a child, despite her extraordinary mind. "Not just stay, but flourish," Mr. Lupo confirmed, his usually guarded expression softening with genuine affection. "Your mother's restaurants are becoming culinary landmarks. Your education can proceed without disruption, and most importantly, you have the foundation for something approaching normal childhood experiences." The dinner proceeded with surprising warmth, despite the formidable individuals gathered around the table. These powerful figures who navigated shadowy worlds of international influence had somehow become family to Tessa and Anna. Unconventional, certainly, but bound by experiences and mutual protection that transcended typical relationships. Thank you all for following this extraordinary journey of a tiny girl with a remarkable gift, who changed the course of dangerous events with her perception. If you've enjoyed this story of courage, protection, and finding family in unexpected places, please write in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to support more thrilling tales of ordinary people with extraordinary abilities facing impossible odds. Your engagement helps this channel continue bringing these suspenseful stories straight to your screens.